do the work, and that's how you make it look easy, I guess, right? Is you got to put the work in.
Nobody sees how the shots that Steph Curry takes until he's on television.
Right.
Like, I'm a huge NBA fan, and we'll go to the Magic games, and when you're leaving the Kia Center, if you go to I guess it's down Division, you'll pass this other building that has the Magic logo on it as well. It's not as big as the Kia Center, but that's where they work out. That's where they train. That's where they're practicing in the practice facility. And cameras aren't in there. Mm-hmm. The cameras are there when they're playing whoever they're playing that night and the place is full with 17,000 people and da-da-da. But you can't be ready for that moment if you haven't been in that smaller room. And so I think sometimes some people, we don't stay in the smaller rooms long enough to really appreciate and value them.
Oh yeah.
We want to hurry up and get to the big stage. We want to be in the sessions. We want to be on, in the voices and whatever the case might be. But if you haven't prepared with the lion and the bear when nobody was watching, Goliath is going to mess you up.
Yeah. I say this as an example, not to say it with some brag or hubris or something, but I just a couple weeks ago actually performed at Carnegie Hall, and I was a soloist, a featured soloist. It was incredible, and to your point, let's talk about the stage of stages. I mean, that is a dream come true stage for, I think, most performers, right? And certainly was for me. Mm-hmm. And, I only had, I maybe only had 30 bars of music or 50 bars of music or something that I was responsible for, but the amount of practicing I did on my own time of those notes, those lyrics, those words, getting it just so that I knew it was completely reliable every time, and I knew that I could step on that stage with confidence and deliver that music that I was tasked with doing is important. And that's the process, right? You have got to do the work and get to, and it doesn't matter how little music or where you're doing, and it could be Carnegie Hall or it could be, your cousin's garage, but if you want to do a good job, you really got to put the work in. And I don't know, but then it's fulfilling, right? Because then you feel really good about something that you just experienced and shared, and that's only going to build confidence and self-love and self-worth, and like it begets so many other things, I think, right?
Absolutely.
So yeah.
Oh my gosh, this is so good. This is so good because it's really encouraging to me. You got to be prepared.
Yeah.
You have to be prepared. There's a principle of faithfulness that is required before your elevation, and don't be too quick to run to the space where the lights and the lights are on and the cameras are in your face, because it will expose either one of two things. It will expose the fact that you're ready, or expose the fact that you're not.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, I want to be that guy who is ready. I want to be that guy who's always ready. The song that we just did, The Christmas Lamb, which I am such a fan of, that was actually the first song that me and Coptic Storms worked on together. And all of these years of producing at the crib, little songs that came to my head, little things that, I would just run to the keyboard and just work out songs that I would never play for anybody that I just found on a hard drive. Like, it wasn't even a hard drive. It was like CDs that I burned from the sessions. And then I bought a CD reader, and now I can import those sessions into and I hit the play button and listen back to these tracks that I did when I was 16, 17 years old.
Wow. I love that.
I do too, because it's so hilarious. And I'm listening to, I wouldn't have, but that's where I was developing. Nobody will ever hear those songs. Will never be on the radio. Those songs, not in that form at least. But that's where I was getting my reps in.
Yes.
And once you got your reps in, it's God's responsibility to make sure that that somebody comes and you don't have to toot your own horn.
Right.
You're just ready. You just stay there ready
That's right.
at all times, and I love that about you. And let's now go to the conversation about being you've been ready to be in that space, living in that space, flourishing in that space, and then it's like, okay, what's next?
Mm-hmm.
That is a very, very real thing, because and a lot of times people will hold you to the you that they met you as.
Ooh, yes. Whoa.
People will hold you to the you that they met you as. Oh, what do you mean? What do you mean you're gonna not do that anymore? What do you mean you're gonna let that go? I mean, that's because that's all they've ever known of you. That's how they met you.
Yes.
And they're holding you to that person when there's so many layers of who you are inside. Let's talk about that.
Wow. I mean, that is so just keen and true. And I'll tell you, it's certainly something I've actually been very much experiencing in my own journey lately. And, you know, just because you can doesn't mean you should is kind of also something like I feel like resonates with that phrase that you said earlier, because I certainly have such a grateful heart for all of the performance experiences I've had over the years. One in particular with Disney. You know, I was with Disney for 18 years. That's incredible. I mean, it was a dream come true to be part of Voices of Liberty, to do so many shows and opportunities on property, you know, be a cast member for all those years. But I was reaching a point where I felt like it was time for me to leave that behind. And it was felt like a really seismic shift. And at times it felt like the wrong decision. At times I felt really fearful about it, and I felt insecure about my decision. I'm like, gosh, why am I doing this? You know, I could probably be there for many more years and get to perform, and I really, you know, I do enjoy it, but I felt this call and I felt this pull, and I just, in the deepest part of me, that was so clear, and it just was saying, you gotta go on to the next thing. You will not grow if you stay. And,
Wow.
and I want to grow, right? I want to make the most of life and explore this beautiful world, and see what heights or lows or whatever, everything in between my career could come to, you know, and the only way that's going to happen is if I step into that unknown. And boy, is that a scary place to step. But you have to step before the net is there. You have got to take that leap of faith and put your one foot in front of the other into these new environments and these new experiences where you do feel new, where you might feel small, where you might feel slightly unprepared at first, you know, but with time and with faith and with trust in yourself too, comes that inner belief of like, okay, maybe I can do this. And maybe I can do something that's not familiar. Maybe I can do something that people don't know me for, like you said earlier. It's okay to show people new things, right? And new parts of yourself.
How do you then answer the question of, sometimes it could be a phase where you're just bored,
Mm-hmm.
and the other times it could be a call, like this voice that's calling you to something that's over there. So, you know, some people, anytime they get frustrated in a spot, they're like, oh, must be time to do something new.
Right.
Well, maybe, but then again, maybe not. So, do you ever wrestle with the difference between those two spaces?
Absolutely. I think discernment is a really useful tool in situations like that, and that's something that, you know, kind of comes from knowing yourself well, and kind of doing that inner work to really know who Khristian is, who Sarah is, you know, or who, you know, whoever's listening, you know. So I think discernment is part of that, but I also feel like when, this is just at least in my experience, when it was kind of that larger call or pull, it kept knocking at the door. Does that make sense? I
Yeah,
wasn't something I could ignore. It was like, okay, I have this
that's
idea.
good.
Oh, that would be fun. I think I want to do, for example, like I want to be more of a songwriter and be more in a creative end of things. I want to add that to my portfolio. And I was like, okay, that could be fun. And opportunities kept presenting themselves to do that. And when I would ignore that call on my heart, it was like, Sarah, it's like, knock, knock, knock. It's like, I'm still here. You can't ignore me. And I think it's those kinds of things when it's like, okay, yeah, I get it. All right, I'm supposed to do this. I hear you.
Right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It just doesn't end. It's like this thing that you just can't get away from.
Yeah, it's an itch you have to
Um,
scratch a little bit.
you have to, and you have to. And I think another one of those ways for me is I have to ask myself, have I maxed out every inch of where I'm at?
Yes.
Because if I haven't, then there's still more work to do.
Yeah.
You can't say to yourself, well, I'm just finding so much turmoil on this job, and I just feel so uncomfortable here, and people are always like at my throat for whatever reason, and such and all these kind of I think it's time for me to leave, but you show up late to work 3 out of 5 days a week.
Mm. Yeah.
You're not maximized in that space. They're probably in your grill because you're late all the time, or because your performance is. If you, I could understand if you have checked all the boxes, proverbial boxes, where there's nothing else for you to do. There's nothing else for you to give. There's nothing, nowhere else for you to go. You've maxed out everything. It's like when Jesus said, "The evil one has come and he's found nothing in me." It's I'm maxed out.
Mm-hmm.
I've done. It is finished, is what he said. It is finished. I have done the work that my Father called me to do, and I'm done. It's done. There's nothing else to do. Meaning, I've every stage that presented itself in this space. I've done all of those. I've maxed. There's nothing. There's no room for growth over there. I've been, diligent to make sure that I operate in excellence. So it's not like there's a deficiency or I'm just tired or just ready to move on. But because I keep hitting the mark. I keep showing up, whatever. But there's this thing that says I could stay here, and everybody would celebrate that. I could be right here,
Right.
but that voice I cannot ignore. That call, that pull, I cannot ignore. It's like I was talking to a guy, homeboy of mine, and I was talking about doing music, and he challenged me in that I said I don't think that I want to be a gospel praise and worship artist. It's like, dude, I could do that in my sleep. It's just it's what I have done, what I've always done for all of my life. Is what it feels like. It's like there's nothing else for me to do there.
Yeah.
Now opera, never done that. That's something that's calling to me, And it's like I could stay here and people would be okay and they would accept that and just be fine with it. But this other thing that just keeps nagging at me, I'm kind of scared. I can't see around the corner over there, and it's a little bit dark because I don't see it. But there's these voices that are over there that are calling me,
Mm-hmm.
and it terrifies me a little bit. I actually like that feeling.
Yeah.
It's like being on a roller coaster.
It really.
It's like
Yeah.
you know.
I think again, it's sort of a to each his own. I mean, there's nothing wrong with staying in the pond that you want to be in or that you've been in for a while. There's nothing wrong with that at all. But I think it's a very personal journey and a personal decision to decide, what excites you and what challenges you and how you are fed and how you are fulfilled, really, at the end of the day. And for me, fulfillment comes from adventure, comes from new opportunities, comes from curiosity and learning and just experiencing different things in my career. And so for me, it's important that I allow space for that and that I pursue opportunities that create those really diverse experiences that I'm seeking,
Man, I love that. What are some of the challenges that do you feel like? I'll ask the question like this: do you feel like you stayed longer than you probably should have, or do you feel like everything just it's supposed to happening in this timing and stuff like that.
I very much believe that things happen for a reason, happen when they're supposed to. So for me, hindsight's always 2020, right? I could say, oh, I could have, maybe left Disney sooner, or this, but I really believe at the end of the day that I made my decision when I was supposed to, and I'm still, luckily I still get to sing for Disney, which is so great. I'm still plugged in because I love Disney, but for me, I really needed to create. Uh, I very much believe in the power of when one door closes, another opens. And for me, I
Mm-hmm.
had to really fully step into a different relationship with Disney as a cast member to allow space for more things. And I've already seen
Got it.
that happen, and that's exciting to me. And again, I think too, though, the time I spent with Disney as a cast member shaped me and molded me, and I'm really grateful for that. So there's a purpose to everything, and these seasons of life, I think we really have to embrace them, because how boring would it be if everything was the same all the time, every single day, every time of the year? Winter teaches us to be still, right? Spring teaches
Mm-hmm.
us to bloom. Summer teaches us to play and have fun. And I mean, fall teaches us to shed a little bit of the things that we need to leave behind. I mean, I think we can learn a lot from the world around us, and
Hmm.
it's okay to go through different seasons and phases of life. I think it's actually a really beautiful thing. So,
That's so good. That is so good. So when you walk into your next, as you're walking into it, what are some of the people? Some of the people that are listening are right on the cusp of making that kind of decision. They're making room for what's more. What, as you look back, are some of the pitfalls that people could pay attention to hopefully avoid in that transition, in that hallway between what was and what is to come?
I think I think something that I found really helpful, and I hope could help others, is to just listen to yourself, um, and not in a kind of ego way, or like, I don't know, critical way or something, in a kind of a inner stillness and peace and way of knowing, um, and trusting yourself, trusting your decisions that you make, because there will be a lot of opinions, right? There will be a lot of influence and a lot of people that may or may not understand why you do something.
Hmm.
And I think in order to move into these unknown territories, and allow yourself to step boldly into a new direction, you have to be your own compass sometimes, and you have to kind of go, okay, I'm gonna give this a shot no matter what. And I have to understand that people may not get it, or they may not see the vision I see. They may not, because they're not on that path. You're the one on that path. That's your road to walk. So you gotta be the one to put your shoes on, tie your laces, and take one step at a time, and embrace the challenges along the way, because they will be there, and you will question yourself, and you will go, oh my gosh, I feel like I've made the biggest mistake of my life. No, take those slow, still, measured steps towards what you want to do, and along the way, I really do believe you will find that it's going to work out, and it may be even more wonderful than you even could have dreamed, but you'll never know unless you try. You got to go for it. You got to go for it.
I love it. I'm in a space now where my wife and I are doing some adventures outside of what people have known me for, and it's totally like a full departure from anything creative,
Hmm.
right? And it kind of scares me a little bit. It kind of scares her a lot more than a little bit, but it's so much fun to consider the possibility of, man, what if this works?
Yeah.
What if we do this and we realize that this was an amazing thing to do?
Yeah.
I love that you said that you still have access. You didn't burn those bridges. It's like some people are like, nope, they'll never see me again. Yeah, it's like,
No.
oh, okay. Don't think that was the wise thing, because you don't know. You always want to be able to go back home,
Of course.
or go back to, something that that you can do just in case this isn't the thing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Relationships matter, right?
Yeah.
And that's a relationship. That's a business relationship. There's personal relationships. There's, you know, um, it all matters. And so how you separate from something, or how you treat other people, or how you engage in current or future or past endeavors, that all matters, right? And so, yeah, it's always good to try and, I think, keep an open mind and not limit yourself to, any possibility in that way.
I love it. Girl, this is so good. Oh my gosh, I love having these kinds of conversations because I would have not known that you had this much in you. Some people admire your gift. A lot of people admire your gift, and it should be admired because you sound amazing and it's just wonderful. Like you were talking about earlier, you can go into any one of these spaces, whether it's rock or if it's a gospel thing, if it's a sweet harm, just a little angelic sound, or if it's kids sounds or characters, or you got it all.
Oh,
But to have these kinds of conversations, to see deeper, to go below the surface of just your gift to the fruit of who you are, I think that is a wonderful thing, and I'm so glad that I have this platform to be able to have people to hear and to know this side of you. And I'm so proud. I'm so happy for all of the things that you have going, and I'm so happy that song, "The Christmas Lamb," brought us together in this way, so that we can start doing other things, writing and arranging together, and all these other kinds of things, which is coming. I'm so excited about that.
me
I'm
too.
so excited.
Thanks, Khristian. Yeah,
You,
I think it's awesome, and I'm just honored and really really thrilled to be in your orbit and doing cool things with you.
oh man, this is great. Okay, so we end our conversations, our interviews, asking our guests three questions. Same three questions,
Cool.
right? So, question number one: what is the origin story of one of your childhood nicknames?
Oh my gosh. I'm trying to think. Khristian, I really didn't have a child nickname.
You didn't have a nickname?
Not really.
You're the
It's
first
just
guest
Sarah.
in the history.
Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to think if anyone called me anything different.
Nice.
So sorry. It's just
Okay,
there it is.
that was that was question number one,
Next
ladies and
question.
gentlemen. Right. Question number
Okay,
two.
great.
Here we go. If you were given a do-over in life, one do-over in life, what is one decision that you made that you would redo?
I think I would have gone to New York maybe at a younger age and pursued theater and things in New York. Not that I still couldn't, but I think it would have been exciting in my more youthful days, to have kind of been a little bolder in that way. And I'm really glad I went to Disney in Florida, and I'm so glad that worked out the way it did. But I always wonder, if I had gone to New York instead, what that would have looked like.
Hmm.
Maybe, I don't know. Who knows what?
Wow.
Yeah. So that's something I think about sometimes.
I think geography does have a lot to do with capacity.
Mm-hmm. And environment, right? Mm-hmm.
Environment has a lot to do with capacity. We can look at the goldfish, for instance, and we all know that if you put it in a small, you know, thing, it will grow to the size of the environment that it's in.
Right.
Um, I think about that too.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I remember saying to God that if He wanted me to be, if you want me to be in Los Angeles, I need a helicopter because I cannot do the traffic.
That's
So
valid.
I can't do the traffic. I need to be able to go from rooftop to rooftop, get in. You know what I mean?
Spider-Man.
You know what I'm saying? I need that.
Totally.
And what's really funny is that year that I said that, somebody gave me a toy helicopter for Christmas.
Wow.
And I think about that sometimes, every now and then.
Yeah.
Because I'm so happy with where I'm at and all these other kinds of things. But I think about that sometimes. And I would think about that and be like, dang, I wonder if that was what God was saying, go to LA.
Right.
But then, Sarah, I remember God said in his word that, we sing the song by Fred Hammond, you're blessed in the city, we're blessed in the field, we're blessed when we come, when we go. It's like wherever you go, the blessing is in you. The blessing is on you. So if you go to LA, you'll be blessed there.
Yeah.
If you stay in Orlando, you'll be blessed there.
Yeah.
If you decide to go to North Carolina, wherever it case may be, you'll be. I have a friend of mine who incredible horn arranger, and he fell in love with a lady that's from the UK. So he left and went over there.
Yeah.
And is killing the game over there.
Yeah.
Blessed in the city, blessed in the field. Whether you come, whether you go, whether you stay, whether you leave, I'm with you.
Yep.
I'm with you always. And so I'm glad that you didn't go to New York, so I can know you this way. I would have probably, if God wanted us to be together, of course, that would have happened anyway. But that's a really cool perspective, though, for a lot of people that are in that valley of decision. If it's within your power to go explore that, then go explore that.
You can,
don't.
Yeah, you can always, shift and make a change. Always.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I love it. I love it. Last question. Question number 3.
Okay.
In what way in your life would you like to look more like Christ by this time next year?
Oh my goodness. I think that it's just a pretty straightforward for me, is just embodying love and unconditional love. I think for me, at least, that's the lesson of Jesus, and how can I love unconditionally and accept people and love them. That's it for me. So to me, that's a daily choice and a daily pursuit that I hope I can only always try and be better at doing. And also loving myself too. I think that's part of it too. Loving others and loving yourself unconditionally. That's what Jesus taught. And so I
love it.
For me, pretty simple.
That was easy. Yeah, it's 2 out of 3. That's not bad.
Yeah.
It's like, no nickname. Nope.
Yeah.
Not at all. Yo, Sarah, thank you so much for being on this podcast. I bless you. I bless your endeavors, the things that you put your hands to. I pray that they prosper exceedingly. I pray that people hear your voice and it does something to their spirit on the inside that words can't explain. I pray that the goosebumps are more than just that you would be anointed, that no matter what stage you stand on, that regardless of whether what you're singing is things of a spiritual nature, or things in sessions or Disney or Carnegie Hall, whatever it is, that when people hear you, that there's something about you that they might not be able to explain, but they'll know that it's not of this world, and like that God will cause your voice to be the thing that allows people to hear Him in this earth. I pray that for you.
Thank you so much, Khristian. Thank you. Thank you for having me today. This has been awesome.
Thank you. Love you, sis.
Love you too.
All right, good people, listen up now. If you enjoyed that episode, trust me, there's a lot more where that came from. So make sure you subscribe to Tombslayer YouTube page, because you don't want to miss one of these conversations. You don't want to miss this sweet hat game either now.